2023. This is Councilmember Alex Peterson chairing this meeting as President Pro Tem. The council briefing meeting will come to order. The time is 2:02 p.m. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Herbold. Councilmember Lewis.
Here, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Councilmember Lewis.
Present.
Councilmember Morales.
Here.
Councilmember Mosqueda.
Present.
Councilmember Nelson.
Present.
Councilmember Sawant.
Present.
Council President Pro Tem Peterson.
Present.
6 present. 7 present.
Thank you.
7, sorry.
Yes, thank you. Council President Juarez and Councilmember Strauss are excused. Approval of the minutes. If there's no objection, the minutes of July 17, 2023 will be adopted. Hearing no objection, the minutes are adopted. President Pro Tem report. This is from Council President Juarez's office. On today's agenda, we have no letters or proclamations to sign. We will have individual reports from council members. We'll start today with Councilmember Herbold. We have no executive sessions today. On tomorrow's full city council agenda, the consent calendar will include just the minutes and the payment of bills. We'll take one vote on all items on the consent calendar unless any council member requests that an item be removed for consideration separately. If so, that item will be taken up at the end of the agenda. There are 11 items under committee reports on the agenda tomorrow. The first item is Council Bill 120628 related to city employment, adopting the 2023 citywide position list. This is an administrative item which was not referred to committee. Central staffer Karina Bull has reviewed this and can answer any questions. Item 2 is regarding the Federation International de Football Association FIFA 2026 World Cup. It authorizes an agreement between the City of Seattle and the Seattle International Soccer Hosting Local Organization Committee that is published online for that council bill item. It was recommended by the Governance, Native Communities, and Tribal Governments Committee. Council President Juarez will speak on this tomorrow. Item 3, Council Bill 32096 is regarding council, I think that's resolution, yeah. Item 3, resolution 32096 is regarding council's rules and procedures. It was also recommended by the Governance, Native Communities, and Tribal Governments Committee. Council President Juarez will speak to that as well tomorrow on the council rules. Item 4, Council Bill 120580 is regarding app-based workers' rights, specifically regarding deactivation regulations. It was recommended by the Public Safety and Human Services Committee, and Councilmember Herbold will speak to that tomorrow. Items 5 and 6 were recommended by the Public Assets and Homelessness Committee. They include both the ordinance regarding amusement devices, Council Bill 120619, and the agreement with the Seattle Aquarium, Council Bill 120626. And Councilmember Lewis will speak to those. Items 7, 8, and 9 on tomorrow's agenda were recommended by the Finance and Housing Committee. Items 7 and 8, Council Bill 120617 and Council Bill 120618, update the 2023 adopted budget. Item 9, Council Bill 120639, updates the city's housing and community development plan. Councilmember Mosqueda will speak to those items. Items 10 and 11 were recommended by the Transportation and Seattle Public Utilities Committee. Item 10 declares the Henderson Pumping Plant and Seward Park neighborhood to be surplus for the Seattle Public Schools. And item 11 approves a water main easement with King County, and I will speak to those tomorrow. Information on all the items on tomorrow's agenda is available online. I want to remind everybody that after today's meeting, our next council briefing will be Monday, September 11. In addition, the council meetings on August 21 and 28 will be canceled for the annual summer council recess. This means that while council will be open for business, there will be no council meetings until September 5. Next on the council briefing agenda, signing of letters and proclamations. As we said before, there are no letters or proclamations to sign today. So now we'll get into the preview of city council actions, council and regional committees. We'll begin our discussion in the order established by the rotated roll call for city council meetings, which is designated alphabetically by last name and with the council president or pro tem called last. This week's roll call rotation begins with Councilmember Herbold. And then, so Councilmember Herbold, go ahead and then hand it over to Councilmember Lewis when you're finished. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Council President Pro Tem Peterson. So first off, just want to speak very quickly to an item on the full council agenda tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon, the council will discuss and vote on the next bill in the pay up suite of bills, Council Bill 120580, the app-based worker deactivation rights ordinance. The bill has been through 3 committee meetings in draft form, not including pre-introductory discussions. And just really happy to bring forward this bill tomorrow with the support of my sponsor, Councilmember Lewis. We'll also be bringing forward 2 amendments with the bill. Amendment A is a technical amendment clarifying OLS's, the Office of Labor Standards, role in enforcement. We were ready to vote on this amendment at the last committee meeting, but stakeholders asked for some additional time. I believe Amendment A is substantially in the same format that it was when we saw it last in committee. Amendment B is a new amendment that raises the threshold for coverage per requests that we heard from the mayor's office, committee members, network companies, and actually workers advocates, because some of the ways that we've looked at to raise the threshold for who gets covered by this new law, there's actually an approach that we've landed on that doesn't sacrifice worker protections, in some ways actually enhances them. So really pleased that the worker advocates work side by side with the network companies in making this this approach towards a higher threshold for adherence to the protections. I understand the preference of the council is to handle amendments in committee. We had voted down an earlier version of this very amendment, and we just weren't able to come up to an agreement that would work for all stakeholders and council members in time for our last committee meeting. So I'm very appreciative of the compromise that we've been able to reach. So that compromise came after the bill was moved out of committee. I'll speak more to the content of these amendments at the council meeting tomorrow, but if you have any questions, please by all means contact my office or central staff before the meeting tomorrow. We also have a committee meeting tomorrow morning. The Public Safety and Human Services Committee is meeting at 9:30. The items on the agenda are as follows: appointment of Josh Sattler as court administrator for the Seattle Municipal Court, a briefing on the 1-year report from the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline serving King County. We're also going to be hearing a briefing from King County on and the Human Services Department on the Seattle Community Safety Initiative and the regional approach to addressing gun violence. And then lastly, we're going to be hearing from LEAD and co-lead their Q1 and Q2 metrics report. Those are the 4 items on tomorrow's committee agenda. We also have a special meeting on at 5 p.m. at tomorrow. Also, sorry, 5:30 p.m. tomorrow. It is a joint public safety and select labor committee meeting. Again, it's at 5:30. It is a public hearing, and the subject of the public hearing is labor bargaining with the Seattle Police Management Association, otherwise known as SPMA. Important point in the labor negotiations, sort of kicking off those negotiations with an opportunity from the public to give input before contract negotiations begin. The most recent SPMA contract adopted in 2022 included several recommendations received during its public hearing back in 2019, including improvements to discipline review, subpoena power, standard of proof for dishonesty, and preponderance of evidence, the 180-day clock, and arbitration. That's really why these public hearings prior to the beginning of contract negotiations, again, the only time we can have a public hearing that will actually impact those negotiations. It's really, I think, an illustrative example of why those hearings are so important and how input from the public can result in real accountability reform. Let's see, moving down, still on the Public Safety and Human Services Committee, we have scheduled an additional special meeting next week on Monday, the 14th at 2 p.m. The intent of the meeting is to hear a panel presentation from folks who are working in various areas of our drug use diversionary framework. But we also scheduled this meeting specifically to hear the mayor's proposed public use and possession bill. The bill is not listed on the IRC at this point. My understanding is that has been the request of the executive as well as my office. So the committee has not yet received the bill, and hopefully we're going to get that resolved before the IRC is voted on tomorrow at full council. I just wanted to mention it in case any of you are looking at the IRC and wondering why it's not there. So still something we're trying to work out with the council president's office. And there's of course some complexity there with the council president being out today, but confident we're going to get it all settled. On the public safety front, just want to uplift the fact that we all, I think, want to take every opportunity we have to thank the Southeast Network Safety Net program, a program that has been leading community healing, space activation events in Rainier Beach week after week. This group is building community in Rainier Beach, holding space for healing and difficult conversations, prioritizing the youth of our community, and saving lives. Their activities were terribly shaken by another senseless act of gun violence on July 28th. This shooting happened at the place of the Southeast Network Safety Net event, an event, again, that's being held to prevent gun violence and support community members in healing from gun violence. I'm very grateful that there are no fatalities. I'm heartbroken that people did suffer gun injuries. I'm really heartbroken that people are having to deal with additional trauma associated with senseless event. But I'm just wanted to say how grateful I am for the work that so many people are doing to curtail and end events like this. Moving on to issues related to the Office of Emergency Management. You may have heard that the National Weather Service is warning us that we are headed into another heat dome beginning this coming weekend. Encourage Seattle residents to review the Office of Emergency Management's website for information about extreme heat events, including the location of cooling centers and the warning signs of heat stroke. Moving on to public health, I just want to let folks know that the state's Office of Firearm Safety Violence Prevention is accepting applications for 2 programs. One is a program for firearm violence intervention that are culturally relevant and community-led. That is $8 million in funding is available. The other is community-led firearm violence prevention planning, including convening stakeholders and leveraging community innovation to reduce violence. $1 million fund there. And you can learn more about these programs and the funding available at commerce.wa.gov. On the Human Services Department side of things, I know people are aware of the King County Superior Court ruling in Kitchen versus City of Seattle. We talked about it very briefly in Councilmember Lewis's committee last week, holding in part that the rules underlying the City of Seattle's encampment removal policy, known as MDARS, the ruling determined that these can be unconstitutional invasions of unhoused residents' privacy rights without notice, without providing alternative shelter, and without giving folks an opportunity to protect property and shelters. I did reach out because I was interested to know whether or not, interested to know from the executive about their position on the ruling, as well as whether or not the city may need to adjust encampment removal approaches. I think many of us learned on Thursday that the city attorney had filed a motion to stay the order. And we learned in public cola this morning that a state appeals court issued a ruling staying the enforcement of the Kitchen order. So what that says to me is there is not a need to make any adjustments to the current policies. I still think it is important for this council to have the benefit of the city attorney's briefing on the ordinance and on the, I'm sorry, not the ordinance, the MDARS, and on the ruling itself. I understand we won't have an opportunity until September when we gather again, but just wanted folks to know that I am in conversation with the council's counsel to better understand the implications of the stay and next steps in preparation for maybe a subsequent executive session in September. But again, we all individually can make inquiries that are privileged of the city attorney's office about this issue. Lastly, on events, regional committee this week on Thursday, I'm chairing the WIRA 9 Ecosystem Forum meeting in Tukwila, where we will be approving our work plan and our budget, and we will be visiting the Chinook Winds Mitigation Project. Last week, I visited the Rainier Valley Food Bank during their twice weekly grocery shopping service. Was wonderful also to see that at this location, guests can access the City Council championed hygiene showers with showers on site. Also, there are ready-made meals to go and the opportunity to talk to community connectors about all sorts of things, from rental assistance to job training to benefits. The food bank at Rainier Valley just is planning a significant expansion to better serve community, not just with food, but with all kinds of resources to help folks in need of food, and was really excited to learn about their capital project and their expansion plans, and know that they will be talking, if they haven't already, talking to many of you about those efforts. On Wednesday this week, Parks Superintendent Jazz and I are meeting with community leaders at the South Park Community Center to discuss the ongoing need for increased programming now, and especially during the community center's upcoming year-long closure for renovation. On Wednesday, also, I'll be joining Congresswoman Jayapal on an unreinforced masonry tour with the city's URM program manager, Amanda Hirschfeld, as the city requests FEMA funding to help support cost reimbursement opportunities for URM building owners to retrofit the buildings. And then Friday, I'm joining Crisis Connections for a listening shift to better understand their work on the 988 hotline and the city-funded One Call program, dedicated phone line for first responders to receive behavioral health information and coaching to better serve the people that they encounter. That's all I've got. Anybody have any questions or comments? Member Nelson.
Thanks. You might have mentioned this, Councilmember Herbold, but when will we be seeing the threshold amendment?
I think it's, if it has not already been distributed, it's ready. So we can,
Okay.
we
I
can
asked
make
staff.
sure that it goes out momentarily.
Okay, thanks. I
Yeah,
asked staff
absolutely.
and they had not seen it when you were talking. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Not seeing any. I will pass it on to, I believe it's Councilmember Lewis.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Herbold. Appreciate that briefing. I'll just add at the top that I will be joining you for that on reinforced masonry excursion. So appreciate the shout out for that and looking forward to seeing Congresswoman Jayapal and talking about that important issue. Okay, so committee updates. Tomorrow, as Council President Pro Tem Peterson alluded to, the council will consider two bills that passed unanimously from the Public Assets and Human Services Committee. The first, Council Bill 120619, repeals the fee on amusement devices such as pinball machines, pool tables, and other games. This fee brings in a de minimis amount of revenue, but is cumbersome to small businesses trying to recover from the pandemic and does not have any identifiable or discernible policy purpose in our current economy. Look forward to talking more about that tomorrow and happy to field questions from non-committee council members who want to learn more about this proposal and appreciate the unanimous recommendation from the committee. The second is Council Bill 120626, which executes an amendment to the operations and management agreement with the Seattle Aquarium in order to complete the Ocean Pavilion project on Seattle's waterfront. Our new waterfront will be completed and ready for public use next summer, and the Ocean Pavilion will be a key feature in this remade community space and is an essential project for the connection of the Overlook Walk, one of the infrastructure pieces stitching together the Pike Place Market to the rest of the waterfront. Looking forward to that conversation tomorrow. Appreciate the deliberations of colleagues in committee. We did have two rather robust sessions on this agreement just to make sure it was properly vetted, and appreciate that it was vetted to the satisfaction of a unanimous recommendation from the committee. So thank you so much to the executive for their work in vetting this and to the aquarium team for their due diligence. Finally, our committee also had our first hearing on a resolution in support of getting our planning efforts together in earnest to start thinking very seriously about expanding our lid zone on I-5 in the downtown corridor and beyond. My office, along with central staff, had a great meeting with the Washington State Department of Transportation this morning to receive additional feedback on the resolution and learn more about how to integrate the City of Seattle's long-term planning in land use and transportation to coordinate with the department's plans for I-5 along the corridor that goes through Seattle, and how lidding structures could be incorporated as part of a comprehensive infrastructure approach to the I-5 corridor rather than two separate actions around maintaining the existing structure and our ambitions around lidding. It is our hope that this resolution, which we are hoping to pass in September on our return from recess, will kick off a new effort to incorporate considerations around expanding lidding into our comprehensive plan and to further integrate our planning efforts with all of these other things that WSDOT is doing on I-5, including seismic studies and a ramp master plan. And really making sure there's not redundancy and that there can be resource sharing in these efforts. This is really exciting work. Obviously, to remind the public and colleagues, our work on the waterfront started in earnest with a couple of council resolutions setting up the issue exploration and partnerships that would be necessary to bring those big projects to fruition. And the potential has never been stronger given the federal money that's available, given the ambitions of a lot of people in community right now to reunite neighborhoods, to build complete new neighborhoods in places that are just now concrete canyons for cars and really nothing else. And this is going to be really, could be really revolutionary work, and really looking forward to the implications of expanding the potential for lidding in the city core. Clean City data update. Clean City initiative reports recovering, although they did not indicate a specific time period, but I believe it's in the last week and a half. Over 31,000 pounds of trash and 247 needles. Does not indicate the number of locations that they remediated or the time period, but my presumption is the last week and a half, as per our usual updates. Again, appreciate that accountability of those report backs from the Clean City Initiative. Moving on to updates from a couple of departments. I'm going to start with the Seattle Public Library. The library reports that with patrons now accustomed to summer hours and expanding service across the system, the library has seen an uptick in threatening or violent incidents on staff, unfortunately. Seattle Public Library continues to be enormously thankful for the security staff's professionalism and composure during these stressful events, and appreciate the City Council's understanding and inclusion of funding in the most recent budget for additional security officers to keep staff and patrons of the Seattle Public Library safe. So I appreciate the library sharing that update. Obviously, the heart of this council goes out to them in the situation that they're facing, and we, speaking for myself, and I'm sure all of our colleagues appreciate the Seattle Public Library's gratitude for the additional resources to meet the situation that they're facing, which is an unacceptable situation. The Parks Department, Youth at Work, an update from the Youth at Work interns from the Seattle Parks and Recreation Facilities Division through their summer camp for Youth at Work. For the next 7 weeks, the Youth at Work internship is going to be partnering to build tiny homes as part of the at the Westbridge facility for tiny home construction. This is going to be 7 weeks of the Youth at Work Seattle Parks and Recreation summer camp, and really looking forward to learning more about how that programming comes together, and appreciate the priority of tiny homes as part of that program and the work that Seattle Parks and Recreation are doing. A couple of announcements from Seattle Parks and Recreation. August 19th is our big day of play for Seattle Parks and Recreation. It's less than a month away. It's really coming up here to celebrate Seattle's diversity and encourage neighbors, communities, and families to have fun, build relationships, and be active together in our marquee parks and open spaces. Parks extends an open invitation to members of the public and members of the council to join in these festivities and to potentially volunteer for these festivities if parties are interested. There is a Big Day of Play website that's accessible through Seattle Parks and Recreation website, where you can sign up to volunteer and view photos from last year's festivities to get ready and get in the mood. Finally, a fall priority swim registration for scholarship eligible participants for swim lessons. As part of Seattle Parks and Recreation's commitment to equitable and accessible programming, the fall swim registration will be open for current scholarship eligible participants a week prior to general registration, and registration will be open for the general public as of tomorrow on the 8th. So everyone, please, if you're interested in signing up for the general swim registration, do please know that that link goes live tomorrow, Tuesday 8th at noon. And with that, Council President Pro Tem, I don't have any additional updates. I'm happy to take questions from colleagues. Seeing no questions from colleagues, I will hand it over to Councilmember Morales.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Lewis. Good afternoon, colleagues. Let's see, there are no items from the Neighborhoods, Education, Arts, and Rights Committee on tomorrow's full council agenda. The meeting for this week has been canceled. Last week, I attended the South Precinct Advisory Council to discuss the community safety issues around Rainier Beach following the tragic shooting that took place 2 Fridays ago, and the subsequent shootings since then. Many of our community-based organizations were present, including Southeast Safety Network that Councilmember Herbold referenced. They were hosting a community healing space that is intended to help prevent some of the gun violence that we see in the community. And it was many of their staff who were victims of that incident. The staff there is really traumatized and trying to support one another. Community's been very supportive of the organization and the people involved in it as well. So I'll be meeting with Captain Brown, who is our new South Precinct captain, this week to follow up as part of my regular monthly check-in with the South Precinct. And we'll be in touch with the department and have been in touch with the mayor's office to try to understand how the investigation is proceeding. I also met with several constituents to discuss the building energy performance standards. I'm sure we're all hearing from folks about those standards and from the department. This is important work as we see the globe burning. 126 degrees in China, I think it was last week, and we'll be experiencing our own heat dome this weekend. We know that this is a really important topic and work that we have to do to make sure that we are keeping our community safe. Folks are very interested in learning how we can speed up the implementation process on these changes. So I'm glad to continue those conversations and look forward to working with you to see how we can move that forward. My staff and I also had our regular quarterly strategic planning check-in. We met last Thursday where we discussed our upcoming trip to the Bay Area to study their cultural district program. We'll be meeting with several San Francisco and Oakland council members, as well as community organizations in both cities. And we'll also be discussing with them some of the legislation we're working on, including our upcoming legislation on the equitable development zoning phase 2. We also talked at our retreat about other legislation. We've got several different things in the works and we'll be discussing that publicly soon. This past weekend, despite cloudy skies, my team attended the Emoji Fest at Judkins Park and the Little Saigon, Celebrate Little Saigon Festival in Little Saigon. This week, I'll be participating in the last week of the Freedom Schools at Emerson Elementary, reading to the scholars there. This is something I've been participating in with the Freedom School for 8 years now, reading to the young people there in the summertime, and really looking forward to the opportunity to do that again. I'll also be meeting with our partners at REACH and Evergreen Treatment Services to discuss the implementation of language access with their outreach teams. We're hearing a lot, particularly from folks in the CID, about the need for ensuring that our outreach workers are able to communicate with people in the neighborhoods where they're attending. So we'll be having that conversation. And then finally, I'll be meeting with El Centro de la Raza to discuss how we can find funding for their bilingual after-school programs. This is something that we've been talking about for a couple of years now. Their program was funded through DEAL and has not been funded the last couple of years. This is a really important program that provides after-school tutoring and homework help in language for students. But more than that, it also includes the ability for the families to reach services and understand how to access other programming and services that are offered by El Centro. So we will be talking with them to see if we can help them find a sustainable funding source for that, get them into a more stable situation. That is all I have, colleagues. If there are questions, happy to take them. I'm not seeing any, so I will hand it over to Councilmember Mosqueda.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Morales, and hello, good afternoon. I'm glad my camera started working before I got a chance to start talking here. Thanks, Council President Pro Tem Peterson, for helping me with the tech issues at the beginning. Colleagues, as you know, there is an opportunity for us to have a vote tomorrow on the full council agenda regarding the supplemental budget. The supplemental budget was considered in our committee meeting twice. That's the Finance and Housing Committee meeting. Last Wednesday, we considered the legislation and a number of amendments, and we voted it out. I want to thank you, council colleagues, for the opportunity to have worked with you and central staff on these amendments, and to the folks who are not also part of our committee for your crafting of amendments that we were able to move through the committee, and I was happy to bring those forward for the consideration of the body. We do have the bill as amended ready for your vote tomorrow. And as signaled in our meeting last Wednesday, I was very interested in bringing forward an amendment tomorrow for the full council's consideration as we finally pass the supplemental budget in partnership with Councilmember Lewis. There was a lot of excitement and a lot of support for the ability for SIF to have non-general fund funding to support their purchase of Cinerama, to continue to ensure that this entity remains accessible to the public for generations to come, something I'm very supportive of. And I also wanted to see labor harmony language included as part of the public benefits that could be discussed and finalized with the executive prior to the allotment being provided to SIF. I'm very thankful for the partnership with central staff, with the community entities, and we have an amendment for your consideration that I circulated earlier today. I would love to have your support for that. We have reached out to various stakeholders to make sure that they have the language as well. And it is an opportunity for us to ensure that labor harmony is part of a possible public benefits agreement that the executive finalizes with the entities prior to the allotment going out. I think it's a great way to ensure that this remains part of the conversation as public dollars are being provided to an entity, whether it's general fund or not. We want to make sure that we continue to lift up the public benefit of that, and having the public benefits package already included was a great way for Councilmember Lewis to feature how this would be a how it would have a multiplier effect of continuing to serve the community and the public. Very excited that we were able to work with law and with Councilmember Lewis and other stakeholders to include the language that you see before you. So my hope is that you will support that additional language so that we have an opportunity to further the public benefits at large. It also has a slight technical amendment that Arts requested to make sure that the technical correction reflects that Arts is being requested to provide a grant to SIF, replacing the word shall with should, where appropriate, as requested by the department. So I'm only aware of that one amendment for tomorrow's supplemental budget, and my hope is that we can get that over the finish line, as many departments are looking for a finalized blueprint for their remainder of their year activities, and that is what the supplemental will provide. Also on tomorrow's agenda is the annual action plan. This is related to HSD's annual action plan. I want to note that this is adopting the 2023 annual action plan to provide the 2018 to 2023 consolidated plan for housing and community development, and authorizes its submittal to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The consolidated plan governs the use of the city's annual allocation of funds from several programs in HUD. In total, the funds amount to approximately $20.2 million in entitlement funds and program income, which are used to provide services, housing, and facilities to low and moderate income persons, businesses, and neighborhoods. Thank you, colleagues, for your support for this legislation. We voted it out of our committee on Wednesday as well. Okay, coming up in Finance and Housing, we do have a meeting coming up this Thursday. This is a special meeting that we have convened to receive the long-awaited Seattle Revenue Stabilization Work Group. This report will be presented in our committee on Thursday. We will have the opportunity to hear from myself and Deputy Mayor Washington as the first panel, who are serving as the co-chairs of the body that convened, and we'll get a chance to thank all of our participating task force members for the incredible time commitment that they provided since at least last October to last week. So thank you again to those partners, and thanks for the opportunity to hear from the Deputy Mayor and the executive on the proposed report. We will also have a chance to hear from central staff, including our very own Deputy Director Ali Panucci and Tom Meixel, who will walk us through an analysis and a reminder of why the report is in front of us. And for technical assistance, Dave Hennis from CBO will be also available. That brings us to our next committee meeting, which will be August 16th. August 16th, we will go back to hearing a report out from the Office of the Economic and Revenue Forecast and the City Budgets Office. This will be our quarterly update from them on the Economic and Revenue Review Forecast. For folks who are interested, this is the report that we do in council that basically reports out what we will learn at the Economic Revenue Forecast Council meeting, which is actually held this Thursday at 2 p.m. Again, the reason that we've done the revenue forecast structure the way we have is so that the executive branch, the legislative branch, and members of the public all receive the revenue forecast information in real time with us. And then we can collectively hear the analysis from the nonpartisan and non-affiliated with the executive or the legislative branches economic revenue forecast office that provides the analysis for both branches of government in real time. So that will again be Thursday at 2 p.m. And then again, we will hear the report out on that next Wednesday, August 16th in my committee on housing and finance. And we will wrap up that meeting with the general fund plan and projected deficit discussion. That's really usually a summary that central staff provides. Because there's not going to be, for my calculations, another council briefing before our break that heads into September, I wanted to remind folks that we do have 2 meetings in September as well for the Finance and Housing Committee meeting, September 14th. We will have for hire regulations ordinance. This is 3 pieces of legislation that helps align our city statute with state statute regarding TNCs and for hire drivers. We have the Seattle Housing Authority's Yesler proceeds resolution. We'll have the budget transparency document that we described in committee a few weeks ago regarding updates to how we receive information about the budget fiscal transparency, as well as an enhanced approach to our fiscal note process. And we'll also have an update on the Jumpstart spending requirements and mid-year true-up legislation that I teed up and we had a briefing on in our committee last meeting. On September 20th, we will have any final vote on the TNC legislation that I described. If we need 2 meetings, we have that held. We also will have the Office of Housing transfer of 3 sites for home ownership opportunities and Office of Housing Finney Ridge land transfer legislation as well, if those 2 pieces of legislation are ready from the Office of Housing, and any final actions needed on the Jumpstart spending requirements and mid-year true-up legislation. Again, 2 meetings held for that. With the possibility of additional items being added, given that we then roll into budget. Those will be our last 2 items on the agenda before we head into the budget season, which starts last week of September. Okay, well, Mr. President, if I have a few seconds, just wanted to remind folks that we have an opportunity to hear we had an opportunity to hear from members of the public last week. I had the opportunity to join folks at the 58th anniversary of the Medicare signing into statute. This was an opportunity to join members of PASARA and so many other entities who are fighting to not only protect and expand Medicare, but to fight efforts to privatize Medicare and to continue to ensure that we keep this public benefit in statute. Congresswoman Jayapal was present among many other community members who were calling for the preservation of Medicare and the inclusion of dental, vision, and mental health services, as well as eliminating the 20% copay and the high out-of-pocket costs. I also had the opportunity to join members of the Seattle Housing Authority and the mayor's office, Mayor Bruce Harold himself, at the grand opening of the Salish Landing on Delridge. It included speakers who are current residents and future residents, members of the Seattle Housing Authority's Indigenous Staff Affinity Group, included Brianna Fatuma from the Seattle Salish Landing, who was a Salish Landing resident, and HUD Washington Field Office Director Gary Grant, in addition to Executive Director Rod Brandon from the Seattle Housing Authority, as well as myself and Mayor Harold. We celebrated the opening of the Salish Landing housing. This is not only really exciting opportunity to celebrate new affordable units in the city along Rapid Ride, but this is also replacing units that were destroyed in 2016 when the Lamb Bow apartments were destroyed because of a fire. So in partnership with Seattle Housing Authority, with the Office of Housing, with the leadership of Representative Alvarado, who provided funding for this as well, they built beautiful new replacement homes with a community plaza and grass and jungle gym or a play center there. There's 2 and 3 bedroom units. There's ADA accessible apartments. There's laundry in site, and there's also on-site library, community gathering space, and a place for classes and activities, as I mentioned, next to work and school and shopping. So people don't have to have a car to be able to get around the city and can afford to live in the city in which they work or want to stay rooted. They also, in partnership with the Department of Transportation, Mr. President Pro Tem, they had access to free Orca cars and unlimited access to transit options in partnership with SDOT and SHA. And folks, I think this is a great example for us to lift up of not only fighting displacement efforts, but also replacing important units at Lamb Brown and future generations of people to come. I think there was 83 units that they celebrated, so very exciting. And then finally, and I'll turn it over to Councilmember Nelson, who's teed up. I had a chance to meet with members of the AFL-CIO who are out here to join our community and members of the community across the country for the National APALA Convention. APALA is the Asian Pacific American Labor Alliance. It's an affiliate group of the AFL-CIO, who is out here talking about how we invest specifically in workers of color, immigrant and refugee workers, and women workers. And you might have heard they took to the streets of downtown and had a demonstration supporting hotel workers who are largely immigrant and refugee folks of color and women workers as well. So congratulations to the really successful convening of APALA. I understand that Congresswoman Jayapal and others were at the event as well to speak. So very exciting to have Seattle on the map for many reasons in the last week. And I look forward to working with you in the next 2 meetings coming up this month and the 2 meetings in September. Thanks so much, everyone. Oh, I'll turn it over to Councilmember Nelson.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. The next Economic Development, Technology, and City Light Committee meeting is set for this Wednesday, August 9th, and we have 3 items on the agenda. First, we'll have a briefing and discussion of Council Bill 120634 to renew the Ballard Alliance BIA. And before going on to the other items, let me just give a little bit of more information about this one. The Ballard BIA renewal legislative package includes 3 resolutions. 1 disestablishing the old BIA and setting a public hearing. 1 stating intent to establish a new BIA and setting a public hearing. And then finally, the legislation that initiates a new BIA. And those resolutions will, which are all procedural and necessary to set public hearings so the committee can finally act, those are set to go to full council on August 15th. And then the committee will hold a public hearing and vote for the ordinance, hopefully on September 13th. So the September 13th Economic Development, Technology, and City Light Committee is the last regularly scheduled committee meeting before budget. And we may need to hold, however, if things get off schedule a little bit, we may need to hold a brief special meeting to vote on legislation relating to the Seattle Tourism Improvement Area. That is a separate piece of legislation, obviously, but I'm just giving fair warning that, you know, we're all scrambling to finish our legislation before budget, and I'm letting folks know that that could be coming as well. Details will be forthcoming. All right, the other 2 items on Wednesday's committee agenda are a briefing and discussion and possible vote on Council Bill 120636, authorizing a Seattle City Light Whatcom County Impact Payment Agreement, and also a briefing, discussion, and possible vote on Council Bill 120637 relating to Seattle City Light electric vehicle charging leasing policies. So there will be more information on that if you would like. I'm happy to provide, or Eric can provide as well. They are fairly boilerplate and non-controversial, obviously, because we're trying to vote in the same meeting. Speaking of City Light, I do want to provide a fire status update. There on the one in the North Cascades near Skagit facilities. And so I'm just going to read some background that City Light sent to me today. Seattle City Light is assisting in efforts to control the spread of the sourdough wildfire in the North Cascades National Park complex adjacent to its Skagit hydroelectric project near the towns of Diablo and New Halem. The fire began on Saturday, July 29th near the Sourdough Mountain Trail because of a lightning strike. A multi-agency incident management team is coordinating firefighting and containment efforts with a focus on slowing the fire spread, protecting structures, and preserving public safety. Crews are working on the ground and from the air using scooper planes and helicopters on containment. Fire is currently burning in the north and west along State Route 20 in that corridor, and east towards Sourdough Creek and the Environmental Learning Center. The total acreage burned so far is 1,397 acres. No injuries to firefighters or Seattle City Light staff have been reported at this time, and there are no current threats to any City Light dams, powerhouses, or transmission lines. And I'm happy to provide just send out the full update from Seattle City Light after this meeting. All right, meetings I took last week. On Thursday, it's not exactly last week, but on July 27th, I attended the Seattle Art Fair at Lumen Field Convention Center. That was my first time. It was amazing. I left feeling more alive and inspired, and I recommend that anyone who has the opportunity go next year if you possibly can. Last Wednesday, our office got a tour of MOPOP from MOPOP's new CEO, Michelle Smith, and curators Amelia Kozlov and Adirya Johnson. And we only had an hour, so it was hard to choose which we wanted to see, but we got in-depth insight into the Nirvana and science fiction exhibits, and those are regular exhibits. And the highlight to me was getting really in-depth information about its temporary and must-see exhibit, Contact High, and that marks the hip hop's 50th birthday. So I recommend that anyone see that before it leaves in January. Don't wait until the last minute. You're going to want to see it many times. And just a little promo, a general individual membership is made up for in cost within or in less than 3 visits. A general purpose, general admission ticket to MOPOP is $33. And so this is a very good deal at $79. And definitely it's, you'll use it many times just on this exhibit alone. All right, since we don't have another briefing until September, I thought I'd mention that on Monday, August 21st, I'll be joining Congressman Adam Smith for 2 hours to learn more about detox centers and supportive housing in his district. And the first tour will be at Recovery Place at Beacon Hill, and the second will be at DESC's Hobson Place. And speaking of drugs, as the prime sponsor of Council Bill 120586, the original bill to conform to state law making possession and public use a gross misdemeanor, I wanted to take a few moments to react publicly for the first time to the legislation that Mayor Harrell announced last Monday and transmitted last Wednesday. And in short, I'm glad we're finally moving forward, and I'm pleased to see that Mayor Harrell's bill incorporates my request to emphasize treatment in addition to diversion, and I'll be co-sponsoring the legislation. Now, it is no secret that I would have preferred to pass a bill that simply adopts state statute into our municipal code and keeps the policies that will govern arrests separate, because that keeps any subjective interpretation of harm out of the letter of the law. But I was in Portland this past weekend, and I saw the effects firsthand of Initiative 110, and that formally decriminalized drugs in 2020. And I can say that recent reporting in the New York Times and the Seattle Times is no exaggeration. So I just have to say that I'm not going to let the enemy be the perfect be the enemy of the good here in this legislation. We have got to move forward because we've seen the catastrophic impacts of the fentanyl crisis coinciding with the post-Blake de facto decriminalization of possession and public use here in Seattle. We can't. This cannot continue. We've got to move forward, and I am very much looking forward to seeing that happen and deliberating on this in the August 14th Public Safety and Human Services Committee meeting. That's it for me. And if there aren't any questions, I will pass it on to Councilmember Sawant. All right, passing to you, Councilmember Sawant.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. There are no items on tomorrow's City Council agenda from the Sustainability and Renters' Rights Committee. As committee members know, my office is attempting to schedule 2 additional meetings of the committee for September. The Office of Sustainability and Environment expects to transmit the building emissions performance standards legislation to the City Council in the next couple of weeks, which means it will be introduced in time for the Renters' Rights Sustainability and Renters' Rights Committee in September. This is the legislation that will, over time, prohibit fossil fuel heating and water systems in large buildings in Seattle. Building emissions are the second target source of greenhouse gas emissions in Seattle after transportation. So this is a substantive part of the infrastructure that Seattle needs to change in order to stop contributing to the climate crisis. Because the bill will not be ready for introduction until September, that will give the City Council a very narrow window to consider the legislation before the budget discussions begin. And we will need to schedule 2 special meetings of the Sustainability and Renters' Rights Committee in September to accomplish that. A couple of weeks ago, my office sent the members of the committee some suggested dates for those special meetings, and I asked your offices to check your calendars to let us know when you are available. I believe we've only heard from one office so far, so I urge all committee members to, as soon as possible, let us know when, which dates are available for you, because the Office of Sustainability and Environment and the City Council Central staff both need to know when they will be presenting. They need to prepare their materials, and also the organizations that are advocating for this, including 350 Seattle, are really interested to know the dates as soon as possible, because they need to schedule their own efforts around this legislation. And most importantly, they want to be able to weigh in on and socialist alternative and worker strike back, the organizations that I have helped build, would also be interested in this, in weighing in on the most pivotal and meaningful details of the legislation, such as how much time corporations will get before they have to begin complying with the new climate standards, which is everything that given the pace of the crisis, and given all the latest prognosis from climate scientists, when this will get done is the paramount detail in this legislation. It's not just about doing it in name, but it's about doing it in time to avert some of the damage that is being done right now. I appreciate Councilmember Lewis's office for responding. As I said, we did hear from their office, but about the availability, so I urge other offices to also let my office know. If there are no questions or comments, I will pass it on to Council President Pro Tem Peterson.
Thank you, Councilmember Sawant. Good afternoon, colleagues. There are 2 items from our Transportation and Seattle Public Utilities Committee on the full council agenda tomorrow afternoon. Council Bill 120611 will authorize a property transfer from Seattle Public Utilities to Seattle Public Schools to benefit Rainier Beach High School. This proposal was approved by the city's Financial and Administrative Services Department, and no issues were identified by our City Council Central staff. As required, our committee held a public hearing on July 18, and there were no public commenters at the public hearing, and the committee unanimously recommended approval of the council bill. Council Bill 120624 is from Seattle Public Utilities and would approve water main easements in the Georgetown neighborhood adjacent to the local company Elysian Brewing. It is a relatively minor council bill, as reflected by the fact there were no public commenters for that public hearing that we held in our committee on August 1st. And again, our committee unanimously recommended adoption of that council bill. Our next committee meeting of the Transportation Seattle Public Utilities Committee is currently scheduled for next Tuesday, August 15 at 9:30 in the morning. We're still putting together our agenda for next week, but we expect to have at least 4 items on our committee agenda. To foster the production of low-income housing as part of a forthcoming transit-oriented development in the heart of the University District, we will have a presentation and public hearing on a proposed partial alley vacation. This includes Clerk File 314496. Technically, the proposal is to reroute the southern portion of that public alley so that it exits onto 11th Avenue Northeast rather than on to Northeast 45th Street. If approved, this reconfiguration of the public alley will enable the construction of a much greater density of affordable housing on this major intersection, where future residents will be able to walk to jobs, education, healthcare, and of course, affordable public mass transit. This is currently the site of 35 tiny homes, so I would expect part of the tangible public benefit in exchange for the city government granting the alley vacation to include a similar number of units for housing ready people experiencing homelessness. We appreciate the collaboration between Sound Transit and the city's Office of Housing to ensure the future project serves extremely low-income people. Again, this will be Clerk File 314496. Our committee will hear for a second time Council Bill 120625 from our Seattle Department of Transportation to continue the legislation needed to authorize the full toolbox of automated camera enforcement as just one element of traffic safety. As we know, the council already adopted Council Bill 120600, which designated where we will initially install enforcement cameras in dangerous drag racing zones. The additional Council Bill 120625, which we first heard in committee on August 1st, will incorporate additional provisions of the relatively new state law. At our committee on August 15, we will consider amendments. For example, there seems to be consensus from committee members to make sure we keep the net revenue after installation costs and operating expenses and deposit those dollars into the SDOT funds for future transportation safety infrastructure projects, rather than having those new dollars go into the general fund. Because directing the dollars into a transportation safety fund impacts another section of the Seattle Municipal Code. That amendment for vote at August 15 committee meeting will be in the form of a mini council bill. I think it will have the number Council Bill 120638. Regarding Council Bill 120625 to implement the state's new authority, it's important to note that it would not change existing fiscal policies for school zone and red light cameras, the stuff we already have, but would rather specify information about the newly authorized cameras and revenue related to drag racing. Okay. During our August 15 committee, we will also have a report from SDOT, an update on their implementation of the Seattle Transportation Benefit District, which SDOT staff typically referred to as the Seattle Transit Measure. That's the sales tax everyone pays to boost bus service in Seattle, to support infrastructure maintenance and capital improvements to maximize the efficiency of transit operations, and to provide subsidies to riders most in need. SDOT spending plans for the annual $60 million or so of STBD funds are often difficult to nail down, so we will look forward to seeing the actual line items. And we'll also hear from the Voluntary Oversight Board, the Transit Advisory Board. All right, well, that concludes my report. Let's see what else we have here. I think that's it, folks. I will go ahead and anything for the good of the order. Councilmember Herbold.
Thank you. I just wanted to answer a question that came up earlier in the meeting from Councilmember Nelson. The agenda that went out today has the amendments for tomorrow's full council meeting. So great. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, colleagues, anything further before we go ahead and conclude our meeting? All right. Well, the time is 3:06 p.m. and this concludes our council briefing meeting. I'm probably supposed to say something else, but let's just go ahead and close it out. All right. Thank you.